Okay, today is January the 23rd, 2016. We're watching the Northeast Pacific Water Vapor Loop. And today we had zero rain in the foothills of Los Angeles. And there was no drizzle or of any kind. Uh, the current conditions right now, we've got 88% humidity. It felt fairly damp at certain points during the day, but it just never rained. So we've got a barometric pressure right now is 29.97. We've got a temperature of 54 degrees and the dew point is 51 degrees. So as I say, it's 88% humidity, but that's just not good enough for rain. And the reason is we had chemtrails today over the moisture field that just passed through. Heavy chemtrailing, we'll take a look at that on the MODIS today map. Also, we see a HAARP transmitter right here opening up a big hole over Southern California between this front and the next group of moisture fields. We've got something right here. We've got a moisture field right here, a developing system there that's got some heat on it. We can see that dry patch right there. And also we've got a much bigger system right back here, which has a transmitter on it right here. And now this is the jet stream flow right here, moving down towards the west coast. And this is being interrupted by that HAARP transmitter. And that is cutting off the moisture flow from this source right here and preventing that from winding into the core of this newly developing storm system right there. All right, so let's take a look at the infrared map. We can see the next system moving in here. This is a very strong moisture field, a lot of red in that system. This would fill a lot of reservoirs in the Southern California area. But unfortunately, once again, these weather controllers have installed high pressure, very strong high pressure all through here, and that will block this system and probably this one right here as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on things and see what happens next. All right, next we have the western U.S. water vapor loop, and we can see that HAARP transmitter aiming right for central and southern California. We've got an area right there where the pen tip is that is starting to spin up, a low pressure system trying to spin up, and that is why they are hitting that on the back side with this transmitter right here. They're hitting this immediately because will spin up into a storm system right here. And we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. But this will eventually move to the east. We've got this system right here spinning. And we've got all this weather offshore. And Southern California hasn't had one drop of rain today. After all that weather that just moved through, we didn't get one drop of rain. That's because of the chemtrails and the HAARP transmitters. Okay, here's the infrared loop. High pressure is parked all through here. That will block this and everything behind it. As long as that high pressure is in place and they're running the chemtrails, the aerosols, they're spraying the skies with aerosols, we won't get rain. The other interesting thing I want to show later on in this video is that there's very, very heavy chemtrailing right over the Colorado River area, right here where the pen tip is. That squiggly line that separates California from Arizona is the Colorado River. And all along that river are dams and reservoirs. And I find it very curious that all along that area on the MODIS Today map today, January 23rd, we see very, very heavy chemtrailing all over this region. And that would be to stop the rain from filling that river and also filling reservoirs. All right, so let's move along here and take a look at this is the jet stream. And we can see that the jet stream has been interrupted. Right here off of California, this is where the high pressure has been installed, the surface level high pressure. And also there's some on the 300 or 500 and 300 millibar, we see high pressure all through this area. So this is causing a disruption. There's also a disruption out over here where that new system, there's a new storm system developing. Okay, now let's look at the East Coast here real quick. Got a storm that has been on the news the last 4 days. Finally made it up into the Northeast. This passed through Texas and part of Louisiana and moved right up to where it is right now. The core of this system is 987 millibar. But what is interesting about what's happening here is that we've got what looks like a HAARP transmitter focused right down on top of this spinning low pressure right here. And we can see the evidence of that. All this dry air, which is this tan area on the scale down here, very dry air, and the violent activity in the elongated core of this system also is very odd. We see a lot of violent activity in the core of this system. This should be a tight spiral with a front, and it's just taking a long time for this whole system to move offshore. And to add to matters, we have a high tide and a full moon tonight for the Northeast. So we've got 25-foot, solid 25-foot seas right off of right here where New York Harbor is, right there. We've got 25-foot seas out about 150 miles where the core of this system is spinning. And of course, when you put high pressure right down on top of a storm system like this, we're going to get a lot of violent activity. And that's what this looks like to me, is that they've got a HAARP transmitter right here, all this dry air. I've got RF energy focused down on this low pressure system, and that's causing a lot of violent activity. And it's also apparently stalling the movement of the system. This whole system should have moved out within just a few hours. And also we have another spinning low up here, and this transmitter here is acting like a blockade as well. We've got this dry air, this area right here of high pressure, and that will keep everything here from getting wound into the core of this system. You can see it acts like a buffer zone. Okay, let's look at this in the rainbow loop. And then high pressure is doing its work here. You see what's happening. All this is dissipating rather quickly. The system is starting to move away, but we see the remnants of the high pressure here. If we look at the pattern on the moisture scale here, this pale blue is all moving in a sort of a southeast pattern from that strong high pressure that's been following this storm all the way up the coast. This kind of looks like an outflow. Got a lot of strong high pressure all through here, and that has amplified some of the characteristics of this storm. This is a very elongated core. This should not be anything like that. It should be a tight system that just moves along and moves out. This is a gigantic system that's been made worse, I think, by the transmitter and also by the full moon cycle. We've got a full moon today, January 23rd, and a high tide all at the same time. So just like Sandy, a lot of things came together at the same time, kind of like a slot machine. You got the chances of all these things happening at the same time it's possible, but how many times is it probable? That's the question. All right. Okay, let's go on to the this is the sea level pressure map for the west coast. You can see that high pressure that's been installed right off of California. That will block all this incoming weather that we see here. All right, we've got highs indicated all through here, these ridges all along the west coast. Okay, we have, this is the 500 millibar. We see some ridges here, high pressure. And we've got low pressure indicated here at 18,000 feet. Okay, next is the 300 millibar. We've got high pressure indicated here and low pressure right here over California. But unfortunately, the chemtrails, all of the heavy spraying, chemtrail spraying has denied Southern California rain once again, and so the drought will continue. The severe drought in our Southern California area will continue. And the reason for that is because of this map here, the spraying that is showing up on this map. This is the MODIS today, the true color satellite map. And if we just pan down, this is Lompoc and Vandenberg. We've got Santa Barbara, and then down over here is Los Angeles. You can see all the chemtrail haze. This is all chemtrail stuff, all this stuff here. And we've got lines and there's a chemtrail spraying and lines all through here. Also, though, we do see some real clouds, this brilliant white. These are all cumulus clouds, part of the moisture field moving in. And this off-white, this dirty white stuff, this is all the chemtrail mix that causes the inversion layer. It won't allow atmospheric lift. And so we have to have lift and moisture to get rain. And of course, the chemtrails stop the atmospheric lift, and we don't get rain. And that's what's happened once again. So we can see very clearly the real clouds are right here. We've got this chemtrail crap that they spray. And this is weather warfare. They're denying us rain. Now let's take a look at the Colorado River right here. This line is the divider between California and Arizona. And what do we see? We see extensive, heavy chemtrailing all over the top of this Colorado River. Now here's Las Vegas right here. This is Nevada. This is Arizona. But look at all the chemtrails that just happen to be sprayed right over the Colorado River as we pan down all the way along here. Notice the desert areas adjacent to the river are not as heavily chemtrailed as the Colorado River area. So I find this very interesting. And of course, this Colorado River empties right into the Gulf of California. This is the Gulf of California. This is Baja California. Very heavy spraying all through here. So this is interesting because as we pan back up, we see a lot of heavy spraying right over this river. All the way up into Las Vegas, we've got Hoover Dam right here. Hoover Dam is very, very low. This last July, I think it was one of the lowest water levels we've ever seen in that dam. And that's where Southern California gets most of its water. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Let's take a look now at the, this here is the wave analysis for the East Coast, the Atlantic. Now, we've got that full moon, we've got that storm, Jonas, I think they're calling it. And look at here, right off of New York, we've got 27-foot swells on a high tide with a storm. Full moon, high tide, and a storm. And so this couldn't have worked out better to create problems. And okay, so let's now take a look at the, this is the surface analysis map for the Pacific Ocean. And we see that high pressure installed all through the entire west coast. This is California right here, Oregon and Washington and Canada. We've got high pressure all through here, very strong high pressure, and that's going to block the next series of weather systems that are moving to the east. We've got a rapidly intensifying hurricane force storm right here, and we've got a gale right up here. And of course, that's these systems that just moved right through the area that didn't drop any rain in LA. All right, so that's the summary for today, and we will do another update tomorrow. Okay, that's it.